Hello, friends. How are you? I hope you are doing well and you're not currently feeling too overwhelmed. Overwhelm can be debilitating. We've all experienced it before. And the problem with overwhelm is that it can really kill your creativity, your joy, your peace, your sense of calm, your ability to overcome problems and actually find solutions because your brain totally shuts down into that fight or flight mode. So if you've felt overwhelmed recently or you're feeling overwhelmed right now, I've got some really practical things that are going to help you. Now, overwhelm could be something that you've just got too much to do right now, like so much to do, and you just feel, oh, I don't know how I'm going to get it all done. Or it could be something that you kind of struggle with over a long period of time where you go through seasons of extreme overwhelm. So whether you're feeling overwhelmed now or whether you know that it's something that kind of is a pattern for you where you can drop into overwhelm quite easily, this is going to really help you. So I'm giving you some really practical stuff today. Hello, thanks for joining me. Hello, Denise. How you doing? It's good to see you on here. I wanted to share this because I've been feeling overwhelmed recently and I've had to really dig in and find ways to overcome it. I had a day last week where I just felt really terrible. I was staring at my calendar for the next quarter and just going, oh my gosh, what have I done to myself? Why have I filled my calendar so full when one of my goals for this quarter was to have more spaciousness? In fact, it's one of my goals for the year, and also it's been on my goal list since 2016. And I read a journal article, a journal entry that I'd written personally, which said, I need more spaciousness. I need to allow more margins. I'm sick of filling up my diary. I just want to overcome this. And that was 4 years ago. So I've really been taking some good hard looks at what I'm doing and really facing the truth and the fear of missing out, of having too much space in my calendar. I see this space and I get excited and then I fill it. It's kind of like the same addiction to when you get money and you just want to spend it. It's a similar kind of thing that happens. And I really like this description that I read about when I was doing a bit of research. Overwhelm comes when, this is written by a PhD professor called Marla Deibler. She says, overwhelm comes when we think a stressor is too great for us to manage. So it's kind of like we think we don't have the resources to actually do what we need to do. We feel like we don't have the time, the energy, the money, whatever it is. And overwhelm is usually not having too much to do. It's not knowing what the order is, so what to prioritize, what to do first, what to do next, how to actually prioritize our list of things to do. And it's also not feeling equipped to be able to do it. You start doing something, you get stuck and you don't know what to do. You don't know who to ask. You don't know how to solve that problem. So you go to another thing. You start working on that, you get stuck. That gets too hard. You start another thing. And next thing, you've opened all these loops in your brain and your brain freaks out. And this is what causes overwhelm. Ultimately, overwhelm is a feeling that is triggered by our thoughts. But the problem is we don't always know what thoughts are triggering this feeling because it's often unconscious or subconscious. So we just think, oh, we're overwhelmed. This overwhelm has just come upon me and I'm just a victim to it. And that's not true. We can choose the state of overwhelm. Overwhelm is actually a choice. And so we have to remember that it's not circumstances causing our overwhelm, it's our thinking that causes our overwhelm. It's our thinking drives our feeling drives our results and our actions. So there's a few things to remember if you're feeling overwhelmed. Number one, you're always going to have lots to do. So it's not a case of, oh, I've just got to get through this and I'll be fine. If this is a pattern in your life, you've really got to look at the root cause, the root symptoms of what's going on. And usually it comes down to a limiting belief that we have about ourselves. Like we're putting way too much expectation on ourselves, or we think that other people have a lot of expectations for us, and that's causing this state of overwhelm. And what it does, it stops us taking action. So we go into that fight or flight mode, or freeze. Often we freeze, and we want to go and just kill time by doing something easy that we know how to do, right? We go shopping, or we go to the movies, or we scroll our phone because we just don't want to feel the stress. So we go and end up doing something which is actually going to make it worse because we're not really getting to the actual issue. It causes us to procrastinate. It causes us to stress and doubt ourselves. It's terrible for our relationship with ourselves, our self-image, because we start doubting ourselves, our capability, because we're not finishing things, we're not getting things done. And I was talking to a friend recently. Hi, Claire. Hi, George. Hi, Melly. Good to see you on here. I was talking to a friend, and we're talking about how we actually use overwhelm as a bit of an excuse. And we both realized that we did this. We didn't realize that we did this. Rather than focusing on one thing and finishing and completing it, we think, oh, well, if I do this and this and this and this and this, then I've got this excuse for actually not finishing it. And actually, when you focus on one thing and you complete it, it's very much a binary result. You either did it or you didn't do it. So, for example, in January, I decided that I'm going to focus on one thing, one habit only, because I usually have lots of habits that I'm working on, but the research says the more habits you're trying to change, the least likely you are to change any of them. So it's something like 90% if you try and change one habit, and it drops right down to 70% if you try to change two habits, 50% or less if you try and change three habits. So when I set my goals for 2020, I decided it's one habit per month. And my habit for January was journaling, and that was it. But on the side, I was trying to work on my health. I was trying to work on my time management. I was trying to work on skill acquisition, so learning new Facebook ad techniques. And I still ended up doing way too much. And the problem was, I got to the end of January, I hadn't completed a full 30 days of journaling. And so I wanted to just dive to the next thing in February. Does anyone relate to this? Has anyone kind of tried to set more than one habit, and you kind of maybe try a little bit on each rather than just doing one and nailing it? Am I the only one who does this? Tell me I'm not alone. Hi, Alison. Hi, Louis. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. So please drop a comment or an emoji or a yes if you find yourself wanting to do more than one thing at a time, and knowing logically that it's not good, but actually finding yourself just opening too many tabs, saying yes to too many things, starting to read too many books, opening up too many emails. Does anyone relate to that? You know, you've just got all these open loops in your brain and all these open tabs on your computer and all these open apps on your phone. You know, you just opened all these things up, and it's very frustrating because you just get overwhelmed, right? Hi, James. Hey, Jess. So with overwhelm, you've got to look at, why am I overwhelmed? You've got to ask yourself some questions. Actually, I've got some questions here to ask yourself. And these are the things that I started asking myself when I really hit that overwhelm last week. So number one, a great question to ask yourself is, what matters most right now? And it sounds simple. If you're not in overwhelm right now, it sounds really simple to say that question. But when you're in it, when you're frustrated, when you feel like you can't handle anything else, and you're just like, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know how to make these decisions, you really got to step back and ask yourself, okay, what matters most right now? And sometimes it's a mix of people and tasks and all these things. You got to have these clear decisions of what matters. So for me, like, I get overwhelmed when I'm running an event sometimes because there's so many things coming at me, so many questions, so many things to think about. So I've always got to think, what matters right now is the people. It's always people over tasks. Maybe you're managing a team and you think, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I've got, you know, whose opinion matters most right now? Do you need to get a deadline? Do you need to get something through that's a really clear deadline, and you find yourself doing things that aren't that important? Like for me personally, I have kind of a rule that I've always put my paying clients first. So what matters most right now? Finishing the things that my paying clients are paying me for. Things that I've promised, you know, things that I've said that I'll get it to you by this time. And you've got to start shutting down everything else. So what matters most right now? Number 2, what am I ultimately trying to achieve? I recommend you write these questions down because they're really good to just have as a resource. What matters most right now? What am I ultimately trying to achieve? So sometimes in NLP, we call this chunking up. We get so in the detail. We get so stuck in the trees. You know that saying, you can't see the wood for the trees. You get so stuck in the detail that you've got to lift yourself up above it and say, what am I ultimately trying to achieve here? And why am I getting so caught up in this detail and maybe the stuff that doesn't matter, you know? And I see some of my mentors, like my millionaire mentors, they put things out that aren't perfect. I was talking to Jess about this yesterday, wasn't it, Jess? Where we were saying we see people put stuff out that's not perfect, and they're still really successful people. And I think, why do I get so caught up about typos or things that aren't perfect on my PowerPoints? That stuff kind of doesn't matter right now. Like, yes, I want to do my absolute best. I want excellence. I want to get 100%, but perfection doesn't exist. And sometimes I think we can waste a lot of time on perfection, you know, trying to choose the right emoji to respond, trying to, you know, you're responding to someone in a comment, it takes you 5 minutes and you think, oh, did I really need to write all of that? Really? Does it matter? And so asking yourself that question. Number 3, what can wait? Sometimes I just think, oh, something's got to wait. What can wait? Okay, that can wait. Maybe I've got a messy bedroom and it can wait. Maybe I haven't, I don't know, cleaned my car lately. That can wait. You know, just thinking what can wait right now. Maybe it's not that important to catch up with I don't know, all of the news going on your Facebook feed. It's not that important. That can wait. Number 4, how can I best manage expectations? So whether that's expectations that you're putting on yourself or whether that's expectations that other people, you're feeling like other people have expectations of you, how can I best manage them? Maybe you need to contact someone and just be honest and just say, I'm really struggling right now. I've just got so much going on. I just want to let you know that yeah, it's going to take me longer, or I can't come to that thing, or whatever it is, you know. Maybe you need to just put up those boundaries to manage your often it's our own expectations of ourselves that's the biggest problem. So how can I best manage that? And then number 5, what's my next best action? This question is gold, and I ask it to myself all the time. What is my next best action? Because there is always so many actions we can take, right? There's so many articles we can read, there's so many posts we can write, there's so many things we can do to grow our business. What's the thing that's really going to move the needle forward in business? And those are usually dollar producing activities, right? Usually things that directly put money in your bank account, like getting on sales conversations, creating something that, like an email that can go out straight away and people can start reading straight away, rather than sitting back and creating something that maybe is going to take way too long. You know, just how can you just start putting things out there that are going to get a result quickly? I also want to share with you some things that you can say to yourself. So when I was overwhelmed last week, I reached out to 3 friends and they gave me such beautiful advice. One of my friends said, do your reasonable best and trust God for the rest. So whether just being able to trust, whether it's trusting yourself, the universe, God, a book, a system, you've got to trust. And so sometimes you just got to go, okay, what's my reasonable best? And then I'm just letting go of the rest and trusting. So your reasonable best is not perfection. It's what's reasonable in this time frame. And sometimes we have a bit of shame around submitting something that's not amazing. But that's not reasonable to think that we can always do everything amazingly, right? So what's my reasonable best? Number 2, my sister left me a message and she said, Kat, I really just think that you've just got to get through this. It was a I booked my calendar too much, and she said, you've just got to get through that, just manage it the best you can, and then going forward you can say no to more things. You can stop filling up your calendar quite so full. So you've just got to get through this. You've just got to tell yourself, I've just got to get through this. So I say things like, if I'm really feeling my heart racing, which I feel in overwhelm, I'll say, I'm okay. It's like parenting, right? I'm okay. I say, don't worry, it's fine. Everything's going to be okay. I'll get through this. I can handle this. I say that to myself a lot. I can handle this. I have a lot going on, but I can handle it. I'm capable. I say that to myself a lot. Okay, I've got a whole massive day, but luckily I can handle it. Luckily I'm capable. You know, you've got to encourage yourself. You've got to build yourself up and be a cheerleader. And if you're struggling to do it yourself, reach out to a friend and get them to tell you. Okay, so I'm going to finish with, hi, Michelle. Hi, Amy. How's it going? I think you two busy ladies will benefit from this. So I've talked about really the cost of overwhelm and why it's so important to address it. I've talked about things you can say to yourself, questions that you can ask yourself. So if you just jumped on, watch the replay, because that's what I'm sharing. And these questions and these statements, super powerful in the moment. So because remember, the overwhelm is a feeling that comes from what we're thinking about. So these 5 practical things, if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, then you can do these straight away. Who is feeling overwhelmed right now? Drop a comment in the chat box, in the comment box. I'd love to hear from you if you're feeling overwhelmed. Just take a nice deep breath in and out. Hi, Nicolene. How you doing? Okay, 5 practical steps to overcome overwhelm. Number 1, biggest step, just stop. Literally just stop. If you've got lots of tabs open on your phone, lots of apps open, lots of tabs open, lots of open loops in your brain, notifications coming at you, people coming at you. Literally, I just close my laptop lid. That to me is like an anchor that's saying no more input. And I've actually got on my door, I've called it my peace corner, and it's just statements, and I just read out the statements. I go and I stand in the corner and I read these statements. I read my vision board, and it just changes my state. So it's really important to stop, walk away, change your environment. Just get out of the house. Sometimes I just grab my keys and just start walking out the door. Just keys, and that's it. And just get away, get away. So if you've got lots and lots of input, you've got to stop it. Number 2, get it out. So thought dump, just dump. So just start writing and writing. So just pour it out. I had a client say to me yesterday, I don't really know what to write. And I said, it's more of like a stream of your thoughts. So if you're thinking, oh, I feel this, oh, I've got to grab dinner, oh, it's my mum's birthday, all these thoughts are going on internally, you just basically get the thoughts external. So you can look at them from outside of the head. They're all outside of you, and then you can be more logical about it and less emotional. So dump it out, and the next thing I do is create a priority list. So I just put a column, like a T column, and I put now, later. And in the now list, I put things that are only urgent, like seriously urgent. I feel like we all think that 10 things are urgent, but they're not. They're not. We've got to manage our expectations. They're usually not urgent. So now, later, and I just do that list. Number 3, talk to someone. I did this with my friend Jess. I said, Jess, I need some help. Can we please chat? And just getting her perspective, getting someone else's voice was super helpful. It changed how I felt. I actually physically felt my body was different after I talked. So ring a friend who knows you well and just say, hey, I'm struggling. Can I just chat through this with you? And just get them to hear you out. If you've got a coach, reach out to your coach. Number 4, so number 3 is talk to someone. Number 4 is talk to yourself. And I've given you those questions to ask yourself and the things to say to yourself. You've got to take control of your thinking, your feeling by what you're saying, by your thoughts, by your language. And number 5, decide no new tasks or input. No. Cancel, Control, Alt, Delete on everything coming in. I'm doing this for all of February. which freaks me out. I'm not consuming any new books, any new podcasts, any new audiobooks. I'm not reading any articles. I'm just stopping the consuming, because I realized it was such a wake-up call. I had lunch with my friend Leanne, and she's a psychologist, and she just said to me, why don't you just stop it all for a week? And I freaked out. And I thought, this is an addiction. I'm addicted to stuff coming in. I'm addicted to learning and growth and input, consuming my phone, my computer. I've got to stop this. And it's been a pattern for years. I mean, most of us have it, but I'm just determined to stop it, to start creating more, and to look at what's in me and actually write, get that out, create content, write, integrate what I already know, actually apply everything that I've put in me over the last 20 years of personal development, and just cut the input for a while. So maybe you need to do something drastic like that as well. And when Leanne said a week and I reacted like, oh, that's going to be so challenging, I thought, I need to do a month. So I rang her up and I said, I'm going to do a month. So just, you don't have to do something that drastic. I really wanted to, but you might just decide no more scrolling my newsfeed, no more reading a book. I just need to stop and write and create and think and just have spaciousness. I hope that's helped you. I'd love to hear what you think. Nicolene says, can't believe I'm here, but I'm definitely overwhelmed. Well, perfect place. It must be a reason that you've come on. So apply these tips. I'd love to know, what was your favorite one? Like, what stood out to you out of everything I've talked about? Hi, Sutherland. Definitely catch the replay. There's a lot of gold, a lot of gems in there, things that they've taken me years to learn, because this is something I struggle with a lot, and I've been struggling with it for a lot of my life. So I'm always looking for keys and tools and simple ways to really overcome this. Don't ignore this. Don't think, oh, life's just overwhelming, it's just the way it is. This can really lead to anxiety, fear, and it can lead, it can be absolutely debilitating. It can really rob you of the life that you're here to live. So don't just think it's normal, everyone's overwhelmed, it's okay. It's not okay. You're not here to be stressed out. You're here to create and have an awesome, joy-filled, peaceful, calm, amazing life. So I'd love to hear from you. Pop in the comments. What was your biggest takeaway? What action can you take? What stood out to you? I'd love to hear your feedback. If you are really struggling with overwhelm and you want someone to talk to and you haven't had a coaching session with me before, I'm opening up some spaces in my calendar, because I didn't want to do a live like this and not give you an opportunity, if you're really suffering with overwhelm, to not have someone to talk to. So if you haven't had a session with me before, your first session is free, and don't suffer. You don't have to suffer. I'll just put my Calendly link in here. You can book straight in for a clarity session, because it's just, life just goes too fast, and if we don't stop and deal with these things, then you'll find yourself on that slippery slope. So book in for a clarity session. If you are facing those challenges, you're stuck, you don't know where to go, then I'd love to chat with you. Hope that's helped you. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.